business. Okay, this is Friday, and like I said, we got this new machine coming in. It's here. There it is, the S1 Max. It is, yeah, it's in a big box, so of course this isn't the size of the printer. I'm sure the printer is a lot smaller than, well, a little bit smaller than what's in the box. It did fit through the door, so that was good. Door's 32 inch, I believe. But she came through, and I got her on a cart right now. So just got her off the FedEx truck and delivered, and yeehaw. Now, this was ordered during Black Friday. They had a sale on. I took the sale deal, and I've been waiting for so long. I was beginning to wonder if I should just cancel the order and go buy something from somebody else, like order from Cheedy or somebody else. But it was like, you know what? We really need this machine, and I guess over the next few weeks, months, whatever, we'll talk about why I needed this specific machine. Hey, so we took it out of the box, put it on the bench. Took about 15 minutes or so, which is the good news, to remove some screws, get things set up, ready to get going, plug it in. Yeah, not that bad at all. Just totally, really super easy. Well packed, and just pretty easy layout. You can use the manual a little bit just to check, make sure you're doing things in the right order, kind of thing. But that's all. Like simple. Anyways, here it is, the S1 Max from Anycubic. Finally, only been waiting how many months for this thing? Yeah, 7, 8, whatever. Now, a couple things about it that there was some really god awful news for me that I didn't realize. Might as well start there, right? The bad news or whatever, but it's doable. It's just how you got to do it. There's no USB stick to go into this machine. It is strictly Wi-Fi. So, and you can use Bluetooth, I believe, but I couldn't prove it. I couldn't get the Bluetooth to work. But on the Wi-Fi, I was able to get it working after a day of screwing around trying to get the computer to talk to the printer. Kind of reminded me of the old Commodore 64 with the dot matrix, printer that just, you kept hitting the send and it kept saying there's no printer here, and you're like looking, the cables are plugged in, the printer's on, I'm on, like what? So anyways, yeah, so it was that kind of situation, sort of. I started and I did things in the wrong order, apparently. So if you do it in the right order, apparently you have the problems I had. Anyway, other than that, it's 350 by 350 by 350, which everybody should know that by now. If you're looking at the S1, my requirements were simple. I need a bed that is about 325 to 350 by 350 build plate size for my products for my clients. So this is a production machine. It's not for me personally, for my hobbies or whatever. I may end up using it every once in a while. I might sneak in there and put something on that I want or something for around the house. But in general, it's a production machine. In fact, if it's really good and it proves to be really good, probably get a second one. Yeah, maybe even a third one. Who knows? Hard to say at this point. But right now we've got one in, so we can check it all out and just see if this thing is livable or not. Now there is, like I said, that USB thing. That was kind of upsetting. The other thing, this one, is bare bones. It was ordered bare bones. So I'm not sure why or how this happened, but it doesn't have a runout filament sensor. Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't have one. And I think it's supposed to come with it. I might check with Anycubic and just see if we can get one, but I sort of don't use runout sensors. Okay, yeah, they're not something that I use. All my machines are jumped out. Yeah, because that's the way I operate. It's just, that's the way I run things. And especially like with this business here, where I bring the filament straight to the extruder and run it through, it doesn't go back over here through that filament sensor. So it's like, nah, forget it, not gonna bother. And in fact, I just switched out filament on the big Cobra 2 Max back there, and I ran down to about this much filament, paused it, switched it, put it back to work. That's the sort of thing I do. In fact, that old beast there is running right now. I'm knocking out a job. That job should be on this right now, but because we're filming today, I didn't want this thing running while we're filming. I decided, well, we'll use old Slugger back there to knock this out. There isn't that much going on here. Let's see if the system is on. Oh, it is on. This goes to sleep, so that's kind of yeah, it's okay, but you can't tell it's on like you saw that because it goes to sleep. But the biggest question anybody's going to probably have, I think, is when they get this thing is how do I get this computer to talk to this thing? So first off, let's do the machine end of it first, then we'll talk about the computer part. But you're going to go to network, and obviously it's going to ask you for your password for your Wi-Fi. So you enter the password, and it'll, at that point, and let's see, there's my network there, and I just hit it. It's now Wi-Fi scanning. It'll scan to the system, see where the Wi-Fi is at, and get hooked up to it. The next thing you need to do is look for the LAN, L-A-N, yeah, the LAN. Turn that on, because this is going to help for your remote computer that's in your house, whatever, my house. It'll find this machine when it comes time. But there's another thing here. You're also going to want to know what the IP address is of this machine. So you could copy that out on a piece of paper or just use your memory. I just memorized the number and then went and entered it. So that's pretty easy. That's not too bad. Now when you go to the computer, you should, or if you haven't yet, go ahead and you download your files from Anycubic.com, but you go to software, FDM, and when you punch on that, you come over, you'll see the latest slicer software for all the printers, really, that Anycubic has. And I think it's 1.41, something like that, and download that, the latest version, get that in your computer. Once it's in and it's up and you've got it opened up, do not start a project like I did. Yeah, why did I do that? I don't know. Do not start a project. Keep the page open that you're looking at, the new slicer software, and you'll see, you might see a build plate, you might, whatever. Don't worry about all that. Go to Workbench. Under Workbench, you will see that when you pull up Workbench open, it probably won't have anything, but click on where you want to, get a printer. It'll ask for an IP address. That's when you want the IP from this, which will be that, 192.168. Whatever. So you're going to have to enter that from whatever this machine says it is, and then let it scan and let it look for that. Once it finds it, that whole page on Workbench will open up, and all of a sudden it'll show you this printer. Also check to see what it thinks you have loaded for, PLA, PETG, ABS, whatever it is, and put that on there. You probably, if you're like me, the first thing you do is make a benchy. I just put some PLA in there just to play with it first. Best benchy I've ever seen, so that already says something. But there was something else that the machine really surprised me with, but we'll get back to that in a second. So at that point, now that you've got all that, you can go back in, just off the Workbench. Now you can go back to selecting, the slicer work that you're going to be doing, the import, and bring the file in, and you should see a plate that looks like that in the picture, and everything should show you that you're now on the Cobra S1 Max. Ugh. And once it's on there, you should be able to go ahead and build your model, slice it, and send it to this printer. Now, when you go to send it to this printer, take a look at the top. This is one of the mistakes I made for a bit, but it's going to save the file here, so you won't have to do this you won't have to run to the computer every time. The file, once it loads it up, it'll stay in here, and it remembers it. So when you do that, go up to the top of the page there, and you'll see there's a little tiny pencil beside the name of the file that you're going to be sending. You probably will, if you're like me, you need to edit it, because it'll have some crazy 6-figure, 7-figure code number, and then the name of the file thing, and it's like, no, this is not going to work for me. I need specifically to know what model this is specifically, and which type, and what it's PETG or whatever it is. And so you edit that and change it before you send it over here to the printer. That way, the printer will have the right file with the right name on it every time you go to use it after that. It'll just make life a whole lot easier. Let's see, so far it's really dead quiet. I don't have any issues so far. Now, other people have reported some crazy things. Get this thing open again. And one of them had the gantry up top here actually hitting the sides of the machine. I don't have that. I checked, it's like, no, she's fine. She does put out poop out the side, so you may want to make up that little poop chute catch thing. You might want to do that because I can't believe how much poop hit the floor here after I got started. It was like, where's this stuff all coming from? It's all over the floor, and it was coming out of the poop chute because every time it cleans the nozzle basically after it runs a little bit of filament through, and it blows out the poop chute. It was like, oh great, something we didn't know. Your leveling and vibration compensation, all that sort of thing. When you run that program, be prepared. It's going to take you. I took mine well over half an hour to run those programs, but it's just auto setting itself up to everything. So it's cool. It's just, be prepared to lose that little bit of time because it's, from that 15-minute assembly, no, you're not going to be making a print just yet. Yeah, you've got some work ahead of you a little bit, but not too bad. Overall, I guess it was a couple of hours, but the computer part of the software, running it from the computer to here, that took me a day because I glitched and screwed up everything before I was finally able to get it to where the file could come over here and print. In fact, it was almost like, oh my God, the printer's running. Oh, finally, because I did make modeling first and then tried to workbench it and send it through, and it was like, no, you can't do that. Apparently that will cause a glitch. One of the downsides, let's see, probably besides the no USB stick, was the other problem I had was when I sent the files over, you pretty much have to walk 50 feet in this case, whatever, come back over here, check the printer, and just make sure, verify it's running, it's clear. This is not sticky, but it's not bad. It doesn't stick as good as some of the build plates I've had in the past, but it's not a bad build plate. It does hold the model enough that I don't have to raft or brim or do some screw around with the temperatures or something. The other problem I have with this, and it's really not the machine's fault, but same old, Anycubic is using a flavor of Orca, and it's missing some of the options that are in pure Orca. They don't have it. And in fact, in sparse, I think it was sparse infill, or maybe it was density infill, I a lot of times like to use gyroid. One in there, it's not on the menu. So there was some software glitches like that. I'll also have a spot in there where I like to take the two files and increase one of them to 35% and the other part, this again for the client, 20% infill. And it was like, I couldn't do that. I can do it on Orca slicer, but I could not get their slicer to work with me. And I've worked with their slicer before, so I sort of already knew going into it. It was like, yeah, there's some problems here, some trade-offs, I guess you could say. But other than that, the slicer works okay. It works great. It does the trick. And this so far has done 3 products that had to be shipped right away. That's $90 worth of product that went out yesterday out of here. And there would have been more, of course, today. But like I said, I'm holding things up until I get this filming done with. But overall, the S1 right now, for me, okay, yeah, it's looking great, looking fine. Brand new machine, fabulous, nice and quiet, smooth, it's doing a great job. I have 0 complaints about that, I guess, other than that computer thing, but that's just software. Again, all of it is, in fact, every complaint I have is probably software. The hardware seems to be fabulous, I do wish it had a way to put a USB stick in it, but there is, no, didn't happen. And I've seen a European model, S1, with a USB stick that was like right up here. Yeah, it's like, why did they get, and I don't get, huh? Whatever. Probably some kind of local laws or something going on. I don't know what it is. When we get all the modeling up in here, we will take this thing off of Wi-Fi and we'll just be doing the commands right from here. Because as I get orders in, I like to come directly to the machine and place print now, for the order, because that'll be going directly out to a client. Yeah, doing it from the computer all the time would be such a nightmare. I wouldn't buy the machine at that point. Yeah, I'd say forget it. We don't need this. The bottom here is nice and flat, so if you get any junk down the bottom, you just sweep it right out. There's nothing up here that's going to catch or be a problem, so that's good. The leveling seems to have worked absolutely perfect and fine. One thing it does do is it checks the box off for leveling every time you go to do a print. That's normal with a lot of the Anycubic stuff, so uncheck the box every time so that you don't get that when you do try to start a print up. Let's see, the possibilities. Ooh, we can do ABS, we can do ASA, we can do carbon fiber, glass fiber, we can do all the fun stuff. It has a hardened steel nozzle. So I knew that going into this, because that's why one of the many reasons I ordered the machine was the build size, fully enclosed, hardened steel nozzle. Hey, I'm sold, right? Now, there was one other caveat that I ran into that I did not expect to see. All the other machines are like this. They're bed slingers, you know, and they're pretty fast for bed slinging. But when I started putting models in this thing, the first thing I discovered was everything I normally run for clients was running 2 hours faster. In other words, we lost 2 hours. We didn't need anymore. All of a sudden, it's running so much faster. I am really impressed, and that's in default settings. I'm not doing any, you know, funny stuff. Just using the same default type settings as I would use in this on you know, the bed slinger. So that is awesome. Over time, we'll come back to this machine. We'll talk about it once I've got some miles on it. Right now, it's working. You know, it's like that brand new Chevrolet off the dealer's lot. Everything looks wonderful and fine. The upholstery feels great. You know, smells good. Yeah. So right now, that's where we are, you know, and I'm sure at some point down the road, maybe we'll run into things. I'm seeing a lot of, I guess to say, a little bit of negativity on the internet, YouTubers saying this and that about it, but I've paid for this machine. I bought this. I am not affiliated with them. I'm not getting paid to sponsor for nothing from Anycubic. And Anycubic and I have never had a relationship at all, other than I used to buy from some of the refurbished stuff that they had out of California. And I've had really good luck with that stuff. And so I'm hoping that this is going to be at least as good as, you hear that back there? I don't know if you can. Old Slugger back there is banging away at it. And that thing has so outproduced anything I would have believed. I laugh about it now, because I had a gentleman here this morning, and I was showing him the machine and telling him how much it had produced since last year, since January, and he was just amazed. And so I said, so am I. I think the bearing should have fallen out of that thing by now, but it's still going, you know. And so far, it's still producing good parts. In fact, as long as it produces good parts, we might keep it around for a while yet. I would like to cycle that thing out of here and, you know, send it down the road with somebody, but we'll cover that when we get there, I guess. Meantime, the S1 Max, there it is. It looks pretty darn good all the way around so far. I really don't have any complaints at this point. Well, other than the software, nothing new there. Thank you for watching Coffee Tools. Please like, share, subscribe, ring the notice bell. We'll be back. I just got a product in today, and we might try to cover that one tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, almost forgot. Over and out.